Good afternoon, everyone. The time is now 12 p.m. I would call the March 5th, 2026 Planning Board meeting to order. We have the following board members with us today: Vice Chair Giraldo,
Good afternoon, everybody.
Commissioner Okoye. Good afternoon. And for the record, I'm Chairman Barnes. We will move forward with the business at hand. Please note that the deadline for all participation, pre-registration, and all submission of materials and exhibits was 12 noon on Tuesday for the Planning Board meeting. The order of cases for today's meetings is as follows. Items 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and item 7 has been withdrawn. The first item on the agenda is item 2, draft minutes of February 26, 2026. I look for a motion for approval.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the draft minutes of February 26, 2026.
Mr. Chairman, I second. It's been properly moved and second. I will now call the roll. Vice Chair Giraldo.
I vote aye.
Commissioner Okoye. I vote aye. And I vote aye as well. The next item on the agenda is item 3A, legislative updates and approvals. We will now hear from staff Jordan Balcom-Colbert.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Yes, for the record, Jordan Balcom-Colbert, Senior Government Affairs Analyst in the Office of General Counsel. We have 4 bills to present today. The first one is HB 1568. It is an Animal Control Dogs at Large bill. It's from the sponsor out of Baltimore County, Delegate Kim Ross. The bill requires each county and municipality to adopt a local law or regulation prohibiting a dog from being at large. Our Parks Department was kind to approach. Our Parks Department was approached by Delegate Ross to provide feedback on her bill with her idea, and then later asked us to help champion the bill by submitting a statement and testimony. Staff, I believe, are supportive on this bill. It formulates local authority and enforcement consistent with existing practices that we already have, and any necessary rule updates could be addressed during the Commission's schedule of 5-year rules and regulations in the update cycle. No amendments to the park rules are anticipated if counties updates its law at the moment. We're asking for support with amendments for this, full support for this bill.
Are there any questions for Ms. Colbert?
None.
If not, is there a motion for approval?
Mr. Chair, I move that the Planning Board approve HB 1568.
Mr. Chairman, I second. It's been properly moved and second. I will call the roll. Vice Chair Giraldo.
Vote aye.
Commissioner Okoye. I vote aye. And I vote aye as well. You may proceed.
The next bill is up for discussion only unless the board decides they want to take a vote. It's HB 1250, Consumer Protection and Product Liability Chat Box. This bill is being sponsored by Delegate Key out of Montgomery County, and it's cross-filed with Delegate Hester from Howard County. Senator Hester from Howard County. For those that aren't aware, a chat box is a computer program designed to stimulate human conversations, either through text or voice interactions. Both of our Prince George's and Montgomery County staff met with MACO partners to get more information about this complex bill. MACO is supporting this bill with amendments, just so that you know. It seeks to regulate the manner in which a developer designs and creates and operates, or an operator makes it available to users this state chat box tool. It also includes establishing safety and privacy protections for users, and establishes enhancement protections for users who are minor under a certain age. And it requires the display of certain warnings when the chat box is being used. One specific thing to note, MACO flag for this bill is the significant operational risks for local governments in terms of public safety systems and essential internal operations. MACO members are asking for a carve-out to ensure that the bill's provisions do not unnecessarily hinder internal government operations, public safety communications, delivery of public services by local government employees. At this time, I would just respectfully ask for us to just monitor this bill. It looks like our partners are doing a lot of the legwork, but we wanted you all to be aware of it because chat box are increasingly being used, and our Parks Department flagged it for us.
Jordan, when is the bill hearing on this bill?
1 second, please. It is The bill hearing was actually yesterday, and then the cross file is coming up next week, I believe. So we do have a chance to take a bite at the Senate version, but the House version has already passed.
Okay. And do we know if it passed out of committee?
No, not yet. It hasn't been gone to subcommittee yet. So we do have some time to actually speak with the subcommittee members on the HB bill and the SB bill.
Okay.
SB is on the 12th. So the Senate side will hear it on the 12th of March.
Are there any other questions for?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, one area I'm concerned about what restrictions they are for the children, because I've done a lot of reading on this and how children are using the chat box as for an actual friend and for advice. So I was wondering what restrictions they have with children or minors.
I can get that information and get back to you on that, Commissioner Giraldo.
Thank you. Nothing else.
Okay. Seeing no other questions, we will continue to monitor this bill.
Okay, thank you.
You may proceed.
Last two, the next one is the Data Centers Planning Transparency Act bill. As you may recall last week, this bill requires an owner or operator of a certain large-scale data center to submit a certain disclosure report to state and local agencies and elected officials. Last week, the task was for staff to go and have a conversation with the bill sponsor, and we did that. We had several staff members from both Montgomery and Prince George's County Planning. We did gather enough information to put in a recommendation for the board to vote to support this bill. I have my colleague Heather from the Planning Department here as well to answer any questions you may have on that, but you also have a copy of the position statement as well.
Are there any questions for Ms. Colbert?
Is there the definition of what's considered large scale versus?
Yes, it's enlisted within the bill, sir. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
You're asking us to just monitor this, correct?
This is actually a support with the amendments request. After both of the planning departments met with the sponsor, we came up with some language that we would be okay with in supporting the bill with Delegate Ruth.
Is there a motion to support House Bill 1411 with amendments?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve HB 1411 with amendments as recommended by staff.
It's been properly moved to second. I will call the roll. Vice Chair Giraldo.
Vote aye.
Commissioner Okoye. Aye. And I vote aye as well. You may continue.
Okay, the last bill of the day is Forest Conservation Incentives, HB 1560. This one, it's for discussion or a possible vote. As you may recall, this bill required the Department of Natural Resources to establish and implement a pilot program for ecosystems value-oriented forest management plans to provide additional incentives for enrolling in and extending commitments to the forest conservation and management. This bill also establishes Forest Ecosystem Value Incentive Fund as a special non-lapsing fund to finance the program. One of the issues, as you recall, the staff had with this bill was the overlap in the Forest Conservation Act. So we met with the bill sponsor and advocates on the bill. We did hear that because it had a high fiscal note attached to this bill, among other things that coalition members had an issue with, that the bill might likely not pass. But as we do our due diligence, we just wanted to make sure we got information back to the board in terms of where we were. So for this one, I would say we should probably just do an informational instead of a support. There were some examples highlighted from staff in terms of the projects the department will assess. The fee was too vague. So I think that because we still have a few concerns with the bill, it might be good for us to just monitor and do an informational to include all of maybe some of the concerns of how to help the bill.
Fair enough. Are there any questions for Ms. Colbert?
None.
All right. You want to go to the last bill?
Yes. The last bill is HB 491. This one was flagged.
941.
I'm sorry, 941, HB 941, public health, public buildings, hygiene products. Due to this upcoming bill hearing, we entered informational testimony on this bill that staff prepared. Staff cited several concerns with this bill: the cost of buying and restocking supplies that could be prohibited, especially if it's a last minute item, possible increase to staff hours in maintaining restrooms, restocking supplies and cleaning. And we also flagged the availability in terms of whether these items that they're having, are they sustainable and biodegradable items that they're asking us to put in some of these restrooms. And for this one, I don't think we want to oppose the bill because there are a couple of sponsors I think that we could probably just advocate for the commission and let them know what concerns we have. But I do think that we need to continue our efforts to work with the sponsors directly.
Okay, we will continue to monitor this one.
Okay, that is it for today.
Thank you. As always, you're our quarterback, and we appreciate the update from you.
Okay, thank you. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Thank you.
So thank you.
Can you ask Chairman that Lawrence James will come to the please?
Lawrence James, can you please mute yourself?
I'm trying to.
Okay. All right, we will move forward to the consent agenda items. Is there anyone who wishes to oppose staff recommendation on the consent agenda item? And if not, is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, after consideration of the record for item 4A and 4B, I move adoption of the staff's findings and approval of the items on the consent agenda in accordance with the recommendations of staff.
Mr. Chairman, I second that motion. It's been properly moved and second. I will now call the roll. Vice Chair Giraldo.
I vote aye.
Commissioner Okoye. I vote aye. And I vote aye as well. We will now move on to the regular agenda items. The first item on the agenda is item 5, preliminary plan of subdivision 4-22067 Morton Farms. We will now hear from staff. Ms. Vanderdoos, we can't hear you. You're kind of muffled. Want to try again?
Can she just the headset?
No. Do you want to log out and log back in? Let's see if that works.
Mr. Chair, this is Mridula with Subdivision. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
If you don't mind, I can read the script for Masa Watandus, if that's okay with you, and so we don't hold
Well,
you
she just
up.
came back in, and if she's still muffled, then we'll let you proceed.
Okay,
Can you hear me better?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I was using my IT skills.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. For the record, I'm Masa Watandus with the subdivision section. Item number 5 on the agenda is the preliminary plan of subdivision for Morton Farm, case number 4-22067. The subject project proposes 140 lots and 5 parcels for residential development consisting of 140 single-family detached dwelling units. In a letter dated February 26, 2025, the applicant requested the continuance of this case to March 12, 2026. The continuance will allow additional time for the applicant to determine the entity to whom the proposed conservation parcel will be conveyed. Prior to the noon deadline on February 3, 2026, 5 emails were received from the citizens which are provided as additional backup materials for this preliminary plan. If the continuance is granted, additional posting will not be required. The notices of public hearing signs for this application were posted on the subject site on November 18, 2025. This concludes the staff's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there an attorney representing this? Should be Mr. Gibbs.
I believe Mr. Gibbs.
He's not present.
He's not present.
He's not present. Okay. I believe that there are several that have signed up in opposition. It is Jess. How do you say her name? Dabrowski available?
Yeah.
Jess Dabrowski.
This is just for continuance.
Catherine Lucas. Sam Ayani. Okay. Emily Canavan. Canavan.
No.
Okay. Seeing that there is no others signed up to speak in opposition, is there a motion on this?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the continuance of 4- preliminary plan of subdivision 4-22067 to the planning board date of March 12, 2026.
Mr. Chairman, it's been properly moved and second. I will now call the roll. Vice Chair Giraldo.
Vote aye.
Commissioner Okoye. And I vote aye as well. The next item on the agenda is detailed site plan DSP 24017 Duncan at Sainsbury Crossing. We will now hear from Mr. Cofield.
Check 1, check 2. Everybody hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of the board. For the record, I'm Dexter Cofield with the Urban Design section. Item number 6 is detailed site plan DSP-24017 titled Duncan at Sainsbury Crossing. This detailed site plan proposes the development of a 1,282 square foot eating and drinking establishment with drive-through.
Excuse me, Chairman. Greg Smith has his hand up.
The property.
Mr. Cofield, if you can hold 1 second.
Sure, we can.
I believe there's a Craig Smith.
Greg.
Greg Smith.
Greg Smith.
Yes,
Greg
sir.
Smith, yeah. I'm sorry, my camera isn't working properly. I had signed up to testify on PPS 422067. I support the continuance. My concern, I want to express this to the board. I've expressed this in previous hearings on previous cases.
Can you hear me?
Oh, no, they're trying to see if you had signed up, Mr. Smith.
Well, I received the link to the meeting.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Smith.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, this is the second time in the last month that this has happened where I've signed up and then not been registered somehow. But I've received the link to the meetings. But moving on. So I support the continuance. I'm just concerned that we're about 130 days into the review process for this project, and a technical staff report still hasn't been posted for public review. In fact, if you go to the agenda page for this hearing for this date, there are no substantive documents of any kind regarding this project on the agenda. They're not available on DARTs.
Mr. Smith, this is Elisa Coleman, Senior Counsel, and I'm not seeing that you have signed up for item 5.
I certainly did. But I'd have to hunt around to try to find the PDF of that. So I can either finish my statement or not. But these are procedural concerns.
I'm going to allow you to finish your statement. You have 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you. So my concern, I urge the planning board to post the technical staff report and supporting documents immediately so that the public has a fair chance to review them before a hearing that's now scheduled for just a week away. Again, we're more than 130 days into the review process. I understand there's an issue or two that the developer still wants to work out, but this severely disadvantages the concerned public. My second request is that you immediately notify by email all registered persons of record for this case. I believe I'm one of those. that the case has been continued and that the technical staff report and other documents are available. Otherwise, just severely disadvantaging folks who live in the community who participate in these processes generally entirely as volunteers and will bear the brunt of the planning board's decision here. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
It's noticed appropriately, which is that the announcement of the new date was announced during this continuance request.
Excuse me, Chairman. Also, it looks like Mr. Smith signed up for LDR, another item. It was not this item. Item 7.
All right. We will now go back to item 6, Mr. Cofield.
Item number 6 is detailed site plan DSP-24017 titled Duncan at Sandsbury Crossing. This detailed site plan proposes the development of a 1,282 square foot eating and drinking establishment with drive-through. The property is in a mixed-use transit-oriented zone and is located on the southeast side of the Richie Marlborough Road, approximately 235 feet east of its intersection with Sandsbury Road. Prior to the March 3rd noon deadline, staff received 2 letters from the applicant submitted by neighboring organizations, the Little Washington Civic Association and the Greater Morning Star Church, which were entered into record as applicants Exhibit 1 and 2. Both letters expressed support for the proposed detailed site plan. Based on this evaluation analysis, urban design staff recommend that the planning board adopt the findings of this report and approve detailed site plan DSP-24017 for Duncan at Sandsbury Crossing, subject to the recommended conditions of approval within the technical staff report. This concludes staff's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now hear from Mr. Robert Antonetti.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman.
Before you get started, can we get you sworn in?
Thank you.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth?
I do. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the Planning Board. For the record, my name is Robert Antonetti with the law firm of Shipley and Horn. Here today with me is Mr. John Ferrante, our senior land planner, and together we're pleased to represent the applicant in this detailed site plan case, Deck Group LLC. Today, we also have representatives from the applicant's team, which have joined us virtually. We have Mr. James Stanley, representative of the applicant. We have Masood Tohidi and Milton Perez from CDDI, who handled the civil engineering and landscape architecture. We have Ms. Sarah Chrisman from QSR&R Architecture. And we have Mr. Mike Lenhart from Lenhart Traffic Consulting, Inc. First, I'd like to thank Mr. Cofield for his review and presentation. He is a highly professional, responsive reviewer, and it's been a pleasure to work with him. As I mentioned in the public charrette last week, one of the greatest strengths of this of park and planning in this organization are your people, and Mr. Cofield is no exception. He's phenomenal to work with, and I want to commend him for a job well done in reviewing this application. As you heard, this application is for an eating and drinking establishment. It utilizes the provisions of the former MXT zone. Sandsbury Crossing has a very long history of development and zoning approvals spanning over 20 years. In 2007, the site was rezoned to the MXT zone, creating a mixed-use gateway for the Westphalia sector plan area. The CSP 07002 was approved for the entire Sandsbury Crossing 4.48 acre site in November of 2008. The preliminary plan was approved by the board on April 24th, 2008. Detailed site plan for infrastructure was approved July 9th, 2009. This is for lot 2 of the 3 lots within Sandsbury Crossing, this detailed site plan. The infrastructure and the grading for the site was performed nearly 16 years ago. In 2016, Lot 1 was developed with a Royal Farm store, which is doing exceptionally well. I mentioned the 16 years because the market in Westphalia has taken a long time to mature. This applicant and the owners of the property, who this firm also represents, have tried very, very hard to find the right tenant for this site and to have the market embrace the retail possibilities within Westphalia. We're very, very grateful after this long passage of time that we now have this Dunkin' store. The application is for a 1,282 square foot Dunkin' store, which specializes in coffee and donuts. The design of the building meets all the design criteria set forth in the 2007 Westphalia sector plan for a property this size and in this location. I will highlight that it does have a 2-story appearance, and it is finished with quality materials on all 4 sides. The building was widened and moved towards Ritchie Marlborough Road at the behest of staff. The building was also now includes interior seating areas and exterior seating areas, in addition to sidewalks, crosswalks, and other areas for patrons to come, relax, and enjoy the food offered at this restaurant. Also, the conceptual site plan conditions that were recently amended by the council to allow for a drive-through for a restaurant have been adhered to. This property now has a single drive-through lane. It allows for the queuing of up to 9 vehicles from the window. The drive-through is on the back side of the building, away from the outdoor seating and the main entrance points for the building, which is great, which again adheres to the design guidelines and the criteria of approval in the CSP. The parking along Ritchie Marlborough Road, which is only 3 spaces because the building's been moved up towards the road, has now been buffered by a significant landscape edge. And it does include more planting units than what's required. What's required is 114 planting units. We have 175 included. And an attractive freestanding sign was designed by the applicant, again, based on discussion with staff, that has a stone veneer, a lower sign with a stone veneer that emulates the materials on the building, and really ties in beautifully with the gateway signage at the corner on Lot 1, announcing this Westphalia sector plan area. I also, again, note, as Mr. Cofield pointed out, that the Little Washington Civic Association is in support of this application, as well as the Greater Morningstar Apostolic Church, which is located on the opposite side of Ritchie Marlborough Road, and those letters are in the applicant's materials and in the backup to this case. Overall, the applicant does agree with the findings of staff and recommended conditions. This application meets all the criteria of approval for a detailed site plan in the prior zoning ordinance and the criteria of approval and design guidelines in the 2007 Westphalia sector plan. For these reasons, we respectfully request that the planning board support this application and vote to approve it. I want to thank you in advance for your consideration of this request. Our team is here to answer any questions that you might have at this time, and thank you very much.
Are there any questions for Mr. Antonetti?
I have none.
Mr. Antonetti, did it say it's a 2-story building, or it looks like a 2-story building?
It looks like a 2-story building, Commissioner Coy. What we've done is we've added not only the height to the building, which is approximately at its highest point about 28 feet. We've also added windows on the second level facing Ritchie Marlborough Road, which are actual windows. They will be open on the inside. You'll be able to look up and either light from the inside in the evening will shine out, or daylight during the day will shine in. So it has the appearance of a 2-story, but those windows largely on the second floor or second height area, which would be the second floor, are functional windows. So it's we think overall very attractive facade that's being proposed.
Seeing that there are no other questions and I see none in opposition, is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, after consideration of the testimony and the letters of support, I move that we adopt the findings and recommendations of staff and approve DSP 24017 detailed site plan for Dunkin' at Sandbury Crossing.
I second the motion, Chairman. Thank you. It's been properly moved and second. I will now call the roll. Vice Chair Giraldo.
Vote aye.
Commissioner Okoye. I vote aye. And I vote aye as well. Once again, for the record, item 7 has been withdrawn. And that concludes all items on today's agenda. I'd like to thank staff.
Item 7 is still on the agenda. There was a mistake in the LDR. LDR 5 is still on the agenda.
Item Item 7 was pulled by the sponsor this morning, or withdrawn by the sponsor this morning.
Okay.
Great, thank you. Once again, that concludes all items on today's agenda. I'd like to thank staff and all those that participated. The time is now 12:30 and today's meeting is now adjourned. Thank you guys so much.